Warning, the review you are about to watch centers around arguably the most bat-crap crazy, illogical, and insane show ever created. For your own safety, leave your logic and reason at the door. You have been warned. Fooly Cooly, or as it's properly pronounced, Fooly Cooly. Where do I even begin with a show like Fooly Cooly? I mean, seriously, this is one of those shows that if you try to bring any logic and reasoning into it whatsoever, then your brain will most likely explode or spontaneously combust, and I do not want that to happen for you. So, at the risk of sounding insane and possibly having loony bins come out and get me, I'm going to try and sum up the plot as much as I can. Now, the story of Fooly Cooly centers around a young 12-year-old boy named Naoto, who is kind of in a little bit of has a little bit of the teenage angst or pre-teenage angst. He's struggling with the fact that his brother's gone, he's hanging around with his ex-girlfriend, Mamimi, and all of a sudden, while he's hanging around one day, he comes across this absolutely insane woman by the name of Haruko, or Haruhara, and she comes up, riding around in her Vespa, riding around in a yellow Vespa, just swings into his life, and all of a sudden just takes her guitar, revs it up like a chainsaw, smashes it against his head while first running him over, and all of a sudden now he has robots that spout out of his head like horns, and now it turns into this robot fighting anime that just suddenly, like, the robot eats him and they duke it out in the city, and all the while it's supposed to be a slice of life anime with a comedy with a lot of sexual innuendos, and I think my brain just exploded. Sorry about that, folks. My brain had to reboot after trying to sum up that plot. You know how some people always have that one show that they always come back to remind them why they fell in love with the subject matter in the first place? That little bastard is the reason why I started liking anime in the first place. I mean, I remember sitting in August of 2003, which oddly enough, this makes it the 10th anniversary for Fooly Cooly broadcast in the States, so congratulations, Fooly Cooly. I sat there as a 12-year-old boy in my room on Adult Swim because I was staying way too up at the time, and I know it, but I sat down, I watched Adult Swim, and on came this show, and I remember it distinctly seeing for the first time, and what my 12-year-old mind was thinking, and I'm surprised I didn't have a stroke, was that trying to understand the show was immediately something that I understood that I didn't need to do, that I didn't need to understand it, but for some reason it stuck in the back of my mind. And watching this, it just made me realize that this is the most crazy thing I've ever seen in my life. Nothing in this show makes sense. Yet, why do I love it? And it's simple, because it doesn't apologize itself for it. It knows it's insane. It knows it's nuts. It knows it makes no sense. But that is what makes it so much fun. This show is the pure embodiment of chaos and unadulterated, unapologetic fun. Now, one of the reasons why this show stuck in my head for so long is probably because of the reason that the main character was Naoto, is because he was a 12-year-old boy at the same time I was. I was just about to turn 13 when this was just coming on. And so seeing this show for the first time made me have a character that was around my same age, and I think I know why. It was like, he was like a typical kid. He was struggling with the idea of maturity, he was having trouble with adults, and he doesn't understand why everyone is acting like a kid as he sees it. He has a certain ideal of what a mature person should be like, how an adult should be like, and he's trying so hard to imitate that, and yet he comes across as more immature as the rest of the cast. He's trying so hard to be mature, and then Haruko comes into his life, and she's like the complete antithesis of everything that he is that she's completely chaotic, but she is herself. And I think that in itself is probably the main reason why this show stayed in my head for so long, is its theme. And I know probably some of you might be thinking, or I'm gonna guess that you're thinking, is that how could a show this insane or this incomprehensible have any coherent theme whatsoever. And that in itself is a bit of a mystery. This show centers around maturity. That's its theme. The idea that everyone tries to force this one ideal of maturity on someone else. People have their own ideas of what it means to be mature, what it means to be an adult, what it means to be a kid. And you know what? Everyone struggles with that, and the main character, Naruto, is doing that himself. That's probably the deeper meaning of the show, is that. But I think the reason why everyone in this show struggles with that idea is because there's really no set way of being mature. There's really no definitive rule that says this defines maturity, this defines adulthood. And I think as a 12-year-old, I didn't understand at the time, but that's probably the reason why it stayed in my head, is that this is the show, that was the theme it was showing me, and it took me 10 years to finally realize that. And I think the way it described itself being mature is that just be honest with yourself in the end. Be yourself, and just don't worry about someone else's silly stereotype of being mature. Is the animation the best in the world? No. I could probably name a couple of other shows that have a much better artistic style than Fooly Cooly. However, this is a show that knows what it is. Its animation complements it perfectly. It's sort of like going off another Gainax anime I reviewed, oddly enough, around this same time of year, is Penny and Stocking. Is that the animation serves the comedy. It serves the style of the show. It complements it. And don't even get me started on the music. I mean, Ride on Shooting Star is without a doubt one of my favorite anime themes ever made. I mean, that's one theme that you could play in your car, and as soon as that little guitar riff starts up, and you're just like, ah, that was a good show. And you're just playing your guitar. I play it all the time in my car while I'm driving down the highway, and just thinking, like, you know what would be awesome if Haruko just showed up, hopefully not hitting me in the head with her guitar. And with all that together, the animation is bat-crap crazy and frenetic, the story is practically incomprehensible, the subtleties, however, are there amongst the insanity. The characters are also very well done. They have their own little subtle themes and little struggles with maturity. The theme of maturity itself connects together amongst all the chaos, and all the music together is so much unapologetic fun that I'm going to have to say that Fooly Cooly is so good, it's worth buying twice. So there you go, everybody. That is my review, or I guess I should say appreciation for Fooly Cooly. I mean, to you guys, I have to ask this question. What would you say is probably the most bat-crap crazy show you've ever seen in your life, and you just love every minute of it? Mine, obviously this. I just love everything about Fooly Cooly. I am so glad that I saw it again 10 years later. I mean, just happy 10th anniversary, Fooly Cooly. And so, guys, that is my review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Until then, I'm Perry the One-Armed Legend. You name it, I can play it.